In this video, I'm going to talk about creating rubrics for an assignment in bCourses. So I'll start by selecting the assignments option from the course navigation menu. All right, so what I'm going to do is navigate to the assignment where I want to add the rubric. So I'm going to go to this essay right here. And then on that assignment page, I can just find this button towards the bottom that says plus rubric or add rubric. So I'll select that. All right, so here we have sort of like the shell of a brand new rubric. And I'll start at the top here. I'll just put in a title for this. So I don't want it to be called some rubric. I want to be descriptive with my title so that if I want to find and add this rubric to another assignment, I have a good title for it and it's easy to find. All right, so below the title, we've got a criteria, and then we've got some ratings and then some points. So you probably already have a rubric somewhere in your document. So for example, here I have like just a very short rubric example right here. So what I can do is I can copy and paste this information directly into the rubric here. Now I noticed that under ratings here, I've got 5 points and 0 points. And under this rubric, I've actually got 3 different ratings. So I'll have to make some adjustments here. But I'm going to go left to right. So I'm just going to take the thesis argument right here. I'm going to copy it. And I'll go over here to the description of the criterion. I'll use this little pencil icon and I'll edit this. And I'll just put that in. And then I'll go to the next box right here. I'm going to copy this over from my rubric. So this is exemplary. So I'll copy over this one. So I'll put in here that. I'll change this. I'll copy over this title up here for the rating. So I'm just going back and forth, change the score, and then I'll make sure I press update rating. So there we've got 10 points right there. I'm sort of doing this based on the points I have up here. I have 30 points. So in this rubric, I've got 3 categories. So you're sort of dividing it up based on the points here and then dividing them into your different criteria down here. So right here, I'll go in and I'll go to the next one. So I see I only have 2 ratings here. I need a third one. So this one I know is 7. Now we're just speeding up the footage. Essentially, this process is the same for each rating. You have a point value, you have a title, and you have a description. So of course, everyone's going to have a slightly different rubric, but this is how you make the edits and customize it for your course. So I'll go ahead and hit update. All right, so I've got those 3 things there. And then what I can do is I can add a new criterion right here. And when I add a new criterion, I can duplicate the previous one, right, which might be helpful because I have those 3 boxes. And then I can modify the description for each one. You can also create a new criterion from scratch. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate it. So now I'll have to rename this description on this duplicate. So I'll change it to organization. And then I'm going to go down and select plus criterion one more time. I can duplicate the previous one and then change the name. Okay, now you have to go in and make the edits to these descriptions in here. I'll skip ahead to the point where I've made all those edits, and then we'll continue into the speed grader. So I've gone in and I've edited the ratings for organization and for analysis and critical thinking. So I've finished creating this rubric and I've got 10 points for each criterion. And I can see that matches with the total points for the assignment. So everything is looking good. So what I can now do is select create rubric. All right. So now if I go into the speed grader, over here, I can see the student's assignment, and then over here, right underneath the box where you enter in the score, you have this button that says View Rubric. So if I select that button, then I can see the rubric over here, and I can sort of move this over a little bit so I can see this a little bit better. Now, as I'm grading, I can type in a specific score here if I want, like if it's between 10 and 7, I could type in a specific number there. Or if it was a little bit more straightforward, I might just select one of these boxes. And if I select that box, it's going to put 10 points over here. If I select 7, I've got the 7 over here. And let's say this one is 5. So then it's going to total up all of those points. So it's going to say 22 out of 30. And then what I can do is I can press save to save that. It gives me a breakdown of, these 3 different criteria and then the total score. And then what I have to do is I have to enter in the total score manually up here. So I'll type in that 22. And then I can go to the next student. Now, in this example, I don't have any more submissions, but what you'll see here is that information is saved. And then if you ever wanted to go in and edit this information, you could go back to view rubric, and then you can go in and make changes if you need to. All right. So the other thing to note is when the student views this grade, they can also see the rubric and what you've inputted on these different boxes. All right, so I'm going to close the speed grader right now, and I'm going to go to a different assignment. Let's say I go to essay number 2, and I want to add a rubric here, but I don't want to create that rubric from scratch. I want to use the same rubric I used before. So I can hit plus rubric, and instead of creating that again, I can go over here to find a rubric, and then I can search through my different courses here. And then I've got my essay grading rubric right here. I can select it, and then I can hit use this rubric. And there's that same rubric, and now it's attached to the essay number 2 over here. And then if you ever needed to view the rubrics in your course, you could always go to the navigation menu, select rubrics, and then select the rubric you want to see. And there you have it. All right, so that's just a quick summary of how you can add a rubric to an assignment in bCourses.